Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of DeathStryke Media's Force Friday show. It's Friday. We're talking Star Wars. We're down to two hosts. We shipped the other James out. He's gone beyond the outer rim. It's just me. My name is James Waddington, and I'm joined again by Sean Sharp.
How are you doing today?
I am doing pretty good. You know, Star Wars Celebration's 20 days away.
Not that you're counting.
Not that I'm counting. I'm counting. Like,
you're counting. Of course you're counting.
I'm like chomping at the bit, like I gotta go. Like I'm doing pre-checks in my head of what I'm gonna take. Just secured passes to meet some celebrities, which is pretty cool.
Which is very cool, especially the ones that you picked.
Yeah,
I get this like contact buzz off you.
Pretty much. So I'm going to be meeting Sam Witwer and Ray Park, so Darth Maul, and I'm also going animated and live action, or top and bottom, however you want to do it. Freddie Prinze Jr., which is Kanan over there, and I don't have Hera or Chewie, so those who I'm going to be meeting.
The original Chewie,
yeah, Peter Mayhew. So I mentioned a couple weeks ago that would be one of the celebrities I would want to meet, and I secured it today with the pre-sale.
See, that's just super cool. Like I said, I'm getting the benefit of you being excited. You know, I'm getting the buzz off of you.
Yeah.
But I've also been, you know, of course, for the show, doing a lot more homework. So now I'm like at home going,
who are these people? I want to know. I gotta go more. I gotta go deeper.
Like, is there a way that I could get a discount through my hotel to get to Florida? And I'm like,
yeah, no.
All the websites are like, no, you can't.
Yeah, all the single day stuff sold out. No. The 4-day pass is sold out. You can only get single day now. And I think those are going to probably be sold out here pretty quick, I would imagine.
See, one of my evil plans was actually to sign up for a cruise because they house you for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And not go on the cruise.
I see what you did there.
See?
Yes. Maybe, or you could do the cruise, and then when it stops through Florida, if it's convenient, you get off and go there and come back.
Oh, yeah, I got lost.
Yes,
right.
Got lost. Got lost.
The bright sun threw me off.
There you go. Well, if this is your first time here and your first time viewer, what happens is we got a few topics in the Star Wars universe, and we simply run them down and talk about them. And first up, we've got the big man himself. We've got a Darth Vader story here, I do believe. Yep, we do. So you saw Rogue One.
Oh, yep.
Did you feel that Krenic's death was good, being killed by the Death Star that he helped create and build for 20 years?
To a certain extent, it was the perfect poetic end. You are killed by the weapons that you have.
Yes.
There's a very ancient Buddhist philosophy that a weapon has no master.
Correct.
It's like it'll cut anyone.
Yep. It's what it is. It's just a tool for destruction. No one owns it.
Right. Now, of course, I've been reading online about some of the other aspects.
Yeah. So the story that just came out is that director Krenic was actually supposed to die at the hands of Darth Vader. As soon as director Krenic he was going to survive off of Scariff, they were going to come pick his ass up. You failed, taking her ass home, and then Vader was just gonna off him like for failing for the last time. I do like how he died by the Death Star. I think that was a better end. But to see Darth Vader kill another fool would have been just as good, in my opinion.
See, I'm really torn on the matter. The thing is, on one hand, I love the fact that he's destroyed by the thing that he worked to build,
and that he really wanted to have.
To destroy.
Yes.
So he gets taken out by his own, basically Frankenstein.
Yeah, and he said how beautiful it is right before he died.
Right.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, it's a cool death for him, a poetic death.
Yep.
And the only way that I would support Vader offing him is if he does it in a new way. We're so used to seeing him kill people with a force choke.
Force choke or, lightsabering or whatever.
Yeah, I'd like to see him, honestly, I did not like Krenic. I mean, he was a good villain.
Good villain. He's a good villain for the movie.
Villain. Yep. I would just, it's like, Vader, show me something new. And it would be like, maybe use him as ping pong, like, toot, 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 toot.
Oh, yeah, like Guardians of the Galaxy when Groot, attacks all those bad guys and runs his roots through them, bangs them against the wall.
Yeah,
and then the top and then the bottom.
Because we kind of saw that in the little clip at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah. He throws a guy in the ceiling and cuts him in half. So
that I would have thought cool.
Yeah.
Now I've always been a fan of Vader. I mean, come on, he's the only one on the show that can actually pull off the cape.
Yeah, that was a competing argument in my mind. I'm like, you can't have two villains with capes. You have Vader with a cape.
You also have a guy wearing white with a cape. Like I said, he looked like the white extra on Dolomite. It's like, did anyone tell you where you're at?
Wrong set, sir. Sorry.
Are you lost from craft services? It's over there in the back. At least that's the impression I got.
Yeah. Those officer white uniforms are just kind of ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
It's like you know you're gonna get it dirty. It's like well, there's something classic about it too, because it kind of like pings at our Navy or a lot of navies out there who wear white for their dress uniform. I get it, but it's like you're just gonna get it dirty.
Well, yeah, sure, you're just gonna get it dirty, but it also shows that you have enough income and manpower to make sure your uniform's perfect.
Also true. Yeah, power and money.
Yeah,
kind of works out that way.
It's like all the elaborate garb that ancient Chinese people wore.
Oh yeah, good call. With all the nice ornate silks and stuff
and
like
the
that.
big giant headdresses, like they did a nod to with Padme's attire.
They did, yeah,
absolutely
overly ornate.
Yeah, is it good for anything? No,
it looks good,
but it's definitely ornate. You get your attention.
Yeah, that's very true. I just got through reading the entire trilogy of Aftermath. I read all 3 of them in the last couple of days.
Man,
and there's the villain in that also wears white, and he wears white with a red cape, which is interesting.
Okay.
But at the end of it, you realize that the red cape didn't matter because he just ends up in a pool of his own blood anyway. But, that's just my take on it. But white guys...
No spoiler?
Read Aftermath. It's a good... Well, that book hasn't been out very long. Spoiler! I can't give I can tell you he dies. I'm not going to tell you who dies. But a guy in white dies. Kind of like Krenic. He reminded me of Krenic. Actually, he reminded me of a mix between Thrawn and Krenic. Kind of like the drive and desire mixed with the tactician. So... interesting. But getting back to Vader real fast, him dealing with Krenic in that way would have been cool as a visual, but I think it might have been a little overkill considering if we got that scene plus the end scene that we actually got. It would have been, although all Vader's good Vader, it might have been like, okay, yeah, he kills him and then he just goes off and kills a bunch of rebels, but that's,
Yeah. As I said, unless it was some new way he kills him, it would have been like kind of a letdown.
I agree. Also coming up, we've got we've got some classic planets that are going to be back in the Star Wars universe, at least on film. Of course, they get mentioned in the books all over the place because they always travel off and go in light speeds and whatever. But going to get then episode 8 and 9, we're supposedly getting some new classic planets back into Star Wars. So we're going to be revisiting planets such as Tatooine, Endor, and Mustafar. So that's 3. Why the hell do we need to go back to Endor?
Well, because I think some of our show notes that you've written up is, of course, one word.
Skywalker. Yeah, I was thinking that because the Skywalker, Luke was there, and of course Vader, died. Actually, he got burned. He died on the Death Star. Came down to Endor. They burned him. That's just what you do with Jedi, I guess. Like Vikings. And of course we got Mustafar. It's where Anakin became Vader. We got Tatooine, which is where Anakin and Luke basically grew up. So I get all those.
Luke and Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. Yeah, I guess Obi-Wan spent the majority of his life in in exile out there. So I guess that would make sense.
A good chunk of it anyway.
I also had the idea that those 3 places also have dark side sort of relics and remnants, like above the moons of Endor, or the second Death Star exploded and rained down all of that kyber crystal and a whole bunch of other stuff onto the planet, and that's all dark-sided stuff. So I wonder if they're revisiting Endor with the Knights of Ren to kind of look for dark side relics and stuff like that. That's kind of my thought.
Very, very interesting. Or I would take the path of you retracing someone's steps to see what they're thinking.
That would be a good thing too. Maybe Kylo Ren will kind of walk the way Vader, like where Vader went from Tatooine to Mustafar to Endor or whatever.
I'm actually thinking it's more of trying to find Luke.
Oh, maybe Luke's going to do that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because, as you said, all these have powerful connections to the past.
Yeah.
And as for the effects of dark artifacts, Luke's supposed quest, or at least the rumor mill quest, he's really exploring kind of both sides to see where the origins of things were. It's like,
that's true too.
Kind of a concept.
Yeah.
So he has to know of both sides.
So he has to know of at least Mustafar, where his dad became Vader effectively.
Yeah.
Maybe visit his castle on Mustafar or something. That'd be interesting.
There's no telling, there could be artifacts there.
That's true. Again, back to the Aftermath book, the newest one, Empire's End, they actually kind of go into where some of those relics are as far as where the Empire keeps them. This takes place, Empire's End is post Return of the Jedi, so you have an Empire who doesn't know what to do with itself yet, but they've collected some other dark side relics, and they kind of keep them on a particular planet. I'm not going to spoil that. So it's kind of interesting. Like the Empire's already collecting dark side relics, and then you have Luke and maybe Kylo also searching for dark side or light side relics. Family tradition,
or is it just a logical path?
Maybe so.
Because if you're really trying to find somebody, you know, it's the classic detective story. You revisit where they've been.
Yep.
Think about what their influences are, and then you can kind of predict where they're going to go from there.
That's also true. Like, it's a very good point. Like, they take modern, I guess, spy movies or, you know, detective films. You don't just like pick a place and search. You kind of go through their history, where they've been, you know, who they know, and then you kind of develop a scenario of who that person is, or sort of profile of who that person is, and kind of go, okay, well, if they're here and they did this, there's a good chance they're going to go over here.
Yeah.
So
I hope that's what it is, instead of, and over here to this side, this is where Vader's cremation was. Please, no flash photography. Moving on.
Yeah. I want to go on that tour.
I would still go on the tour,
I would too.
You know, but it's just the fact. Let's hope it's something bigger than
I agree.
Than that.
Like, instead of like maybe not like flash scenes, like, you know, flashbacks or force flash. I forget what they call it. Flash forwards, flashbacks, whatever. Like, and like you just see like these random relics like coming through like the Star Wars universe, like say Vader's lightsaber, Vader's burnt helmet, and holocrons or stuff like that. Like, and over here, like you said, over here there's a pile of holocrons. No, don't open them.
Don't open them, but they're for sale at our gift shop.
We have replicas.
Or Luke's hand in a jar. I keep expecting that to show up at any time.
That, yeah, maybe in Maz's castle somewhere down the very bottom buried.
Yeah, no telling. It's just like, I just had this creepy feeling because, you know, like I said, I hope it's not a tour. I hope it's a hunt.
I hope so.
Because otherwise it's the Skywalker solo, you know, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club tour.
Yep.
So, you know.
I can see going back. Yeah, I can see going back to Tatooine. I mean, that's kind of where the what we think of as the original trilogy takes place. That's where Luke is. Mustafar, I get. I'm still having a hard time with Endor. I know that's where Vader's helmet came from. That's where they burned him. But
right.
I don't know why we'd want as an audience. I don't know, the Ewoks didn't really go over that well, so I can't imagine wanting to go back to Endor.
They didn't go over well with the people who saw them originally in the movie theater.
Yeah,
I think they've kind of grown in popularity after.
I guess with Warwick Davis being Wicket and him having such a good career, but I'm just I don't really want to go back to Endor.
I can't figure out any reason to go back. It didn't at the time have a strong tie to the dark side nor the light side.
It was just a planet or a moon.
Planet.
Yeah, moon above Endor. I don't know. You know, I hope it works out. I'm sure they'll do it well. Maybe they'll revisit Wicket. You know, he'll be ancient and gray. I don't know.
Ooh.
I mean, Warwick Davis is still alive, so I don't see why not.
I don't see why. Yeah, but keep in mind those things are cannibals.
Yeah, they eat the flesh of their enemies to gain their strength.
I don't know if they're actually cannibals, if they're eating the flesh of another species, but
or themselves. I don't know.
I don't know. Just
well, they had a whole bunch of
suits of armor,
Imperials to eat. So who knows? They pickled it or they brined it or they kept it.
They've acquired a taste for it. Like, yes,
this is Imperial.
Come visit us. Our gift shop sells replicas. Just exit to the side.
There was a lot of empty armor, wasn't there? On the moon.
Remember the whole drum line?
Yeah, it was all helmets.
Those helmets came from somewhere.
That's right. I don't think they just left the bodies. It's good meat for Ewoks.
Yeah, I mean, one galactic human, don't have a lack of another term for him, probably feeds a good Ewok family. I mean, Ewoks are small.
Yeah, and I'm sure they eat little bitty so stomachs are built. So I guess one average sized human could feed a family for like a week, maybe two.
Maybe probably three, because here's the creepy thing. In culinary science, cannibalism has come up. Like
I'd imagine.
My first quarter, cannibalism came up.
Of course it did.
Because we were discussing, you know, like when airplanes crash in the Andes, it's like, if we had to cook a human, it's like, wow,
if you had to cook a human.
If anyone goes missing, ask where he was first. Not me, ask him, because he's the one that brought it up.
Well, that's a fair question. I mean, that's probably what the Ewoks were like. You guys want these? We'll take them off your hands.
Got any more?
There was a whole Death Star.
We have a detention center.
An off-site prison for the Imperials they caught. Right, off-site.
What really happens?
It's out back, right?
Oh, you could just hear the Imperial bring in John Smith for interrogation.
About John Smith, He got sick.
He died. Well, let's see his body.
We burned it on the rotisserie.
It was very tasty. Okay. Good grief! Now you see why all these Imperials are in post-traumatic stress rancors. No, they were.
It wasn't rancors. It was. The ones that escaped. Oh man, those Ewoks, they were this big. They were huge.
Huge. Bigger than Wookiees. Bigger than Wookiees.
Oh man. Yeah, they kind of I can't imagine, being there and seeing your I don't know. I wonder if there's any stormtroopers actually seeing like Ewoks eat their friends.
Bizarre things happen, and if you think about it, they had no way off. Where were they going to go?
That's true. It was all as soon as that battle happened. The pieces of the Death Star rained down on the moon. The big celebration. Han knocked up Leia. Where the rest of the Imperials go? They couldn't get off planet.
Right, unless they were captured by rebels. And then it was going to be a prison colony.
Yeah, of course the rebellion was like, we're going to treat all of our prisoners well, and they did for the most part. They just gave them to the Ewoks.
They just gave them to the Ewoks. Since this is a sovereign planet and we recognize your sovereign governance, we let you deal with these trespassers.
As you wish. Alrighty, let's get off this cannibalistic topic.
Wow, yeah, it got really dark. Okay, so one of the other topics is, will we ever, I'm going to say ever, see a standalone Obi-Wan movie?
Yes. I'm going to say yes. When? After episode 9.
After episode 9.
Yeah. I say that for two reasons. Mainly because with the release of Star Wars Rebels' latest episode, Twin Suns, it kind of brought into play Obi-Wan a lot, because you have Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul for the final battle. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying it's the final battle. But with that being said, when I watched that episode, I did watch that episode. I am caught up on Rebels. I watched that episode. I was like, I have to have an Obi-Wan standalone movie, hopefully with Ewan MacGregor. And Ewan MacGregor has gone on to say that he wants to play Obi-Wan, or he wouldn't mind playing Obi-Wan again. In fact, he actually, Ewan MacGregor did an interview with Business Insider magazine, and he actually goes on to say, he says, listen, I have been asked about this a lot, and about it a lot, to the point where it looks like a bit like I'm touting for work. I've been very open to say I'd be happy to do it if they want to do it. I think they are set going in. They hope they are set going into the 2030s with their movies, but it should be fun. Of course, I'd be happy to do it. So I hate reading quotes. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. With that being said, I do think he wants to do it. I do think that we're going to get a tease of that coming up probably in episode 8, maybe like a Force Ghost. I know we've talked about this before, but it's been unusually quiet on that front. I don't know if they're keeping secrets, maybe because of Star Wars Celebration or episode 8, but there have been no rumors or talks about it, which is really weird to think that out of all of the topics that most people want to hear about it, which is not only the Han Solo standalone movie, but Obi-Wan, he's like one of the biggest characters, but there's been no news, zip, not a nilch, nothing, which is interesting.
It's kind of weird on the fact that Obi-Wan was cool in the original old series, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
But since the Clone Wars, and then the Clone Wars animated, and of course Rebels, he's kind of grown in stature in current times. But the thing is, I think everyone's taking for granted. Since there's no scuttlebutt out there, I think people are taking for granted. Of course, they're going to do a movie.
Yeah, Disney has gone to say they're pretty much gonna make a Disney movie pretty much every year forever. It would be unfortunate if Obi-Wan never was made, but I think they're hiding something very well.
Ewan MacGregor is definitely the man who not tell you anything.
Yes, he's good at what he does, which is acting.
He's good at what he does, but my great fear is the man rides a lot of motorcycles. He also goes like cross-continent motorcycle riding.
He does.
And that makes me worried.
He's Obi-Wan though. He uses the Force and get himself out of anything.
He's Obi-Wan. Yes, right. Until that semi. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I have the feeling that they are holding something out, that they're not saying anything. They have said that they're not done with the Obi-Wan character yet, and they don't want to get into the film yet. They've been skirting around the main issue of are they going to or are they not going to. So I do have a funny feeling that we're probably going to hear something, if not at Celebration D23, which is Disney's own version of a convention. It's just Disney stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not counting on it in any way, but I would not be surprised if that's like, oh, by the way, there's a little movie we're going to be doing called the Obi-Wan standalone movie. But we'll see.
Like I said, I just have a fear that everyone takes for granted. Now, since they are going to make movies out to 2030, at least they openly saying, it's like, how many ideas do you have that you can pull out of the bag? So Obi-Wan should be in there.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take that for granted.
I mean, I would prefer an Obi-Wan movie over this Boba Fett movie any day.
The Boba Fett movie, I have a lot of issues with that.
He wasn't a very good. I didn't like him in the original trilogy. I don't know what the fascination is. I know when the books came out more, there was a lot more lore and stuff behind the Mandalorians, and it came out that Boba Fett. This is recent. Boba Fett wasn't really, Boba Fett was not a Mandalorian. He's a clone, and then before that, it was Jango Fett is not a Mandalorian. It's just like, and then we got a whole bunch of Mandalorians in Clone Wars, the TV show, and we got a lot of them in Rebels. I don't see their fascination. They're just basically mercenaries.
Right. It's actually, I think it comes down to two things. One, he actually talked back to Vader.
Yeah, and he didn't get iced.
He didn't get iced. So that meant people without information fill in, and so they went, "Ooh, he's enough of a badass to say, I can stand up to you."
Yeah, but we both have cool helmets, man.
It's a helmet thing.
Yep.
They belong to Helmet Club of America.
I get, or the Galaxy, or whatever the galaxy is called.
They probably both need toupees. Well, we know Vader needs a toupee. So
it's a little more than a toupee.
Yeah, just a little base makeup, just a little, give him a little color.
Maybe spray tan.
Yeah. So I don't know. I am just not impressed with the idea of a Boba Fett movie unless they take it. He's been explored in Clone Wars.
A little bit, not much, but a little bit. He in Clone Wars he was a kid in Clone Wars. He didn't really make it through. I think they abandoned that storyline like halfway through. They're like, no, it doesn't tie in very well.
Yeah,
because you can't do much with a kid as a bounty hunter. You can't really.
No, just being stuck with one bad bounty hunting gang after another.
Just show us Boba Fett.
It's kind of meh.
Now, if they went in a different direction, like saying like I know we're off topic of Obi-Wan, but getting to the Boba Fett, if they did like an underworld type story where you get involved with like all the crime lords and crime bosses and stuff like that, that would be cool. I would appreciate that. Maybe like, the gambling houses been way down depth in Coruscant somewhere, backhanded deals, closed doors talking. I don't know, stuff like that would be kind of cool. Gambling.
I could see an appeal to that, but once again, definitely much more Obi-Wan movie.
Yeah,
less. This maybe making an animated series,
or a Netflix series.
Yeah,
that would be good.
Something streamable.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking maybe they could do the same thing with Obi-Wan, because you have a huge chunk of time where Obi-Wan's obviously on Tatooine, right? Not doing a whole lot, but as we can see in the episode of Rebels Twin Sons, that he did keep up his lightsaber technique. I mean, he took care of Maul, so in a very poetic and kind of similar to how Maul took out Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. I would like to see maybe I'd even say a Netflix series based on Obi-Wan and Tatooine, where he is like kind of how he is. He's a loner. He's in exile doing these little side adventures not side adventures, but like life on Tatooine, kind of like an episode of Cops.
Well, our troops.
Yeah.
Revisit troops. But
that was a nice little fan skit.
That was a fantastic fan skit. For me, it's like, did he stay on the planet all the time, or did he?
He was
leave?
Supposed to be there. Yeah.
Because that also opens up to other.
Well, he had to keep his Jedi, training in I guess aura about him pretty low, so he couldn't really use the Force. He couldn't really use his lightsaber because those two were a dead giveaway. And if he traveled, he might slip and use his Force powers here or there. Someone might recognize him or doubt it, but you never know.
Or as
he was a very popular Jedi.
I was about to say
General Kenobi. So
yeah, General Kenobi. Well known, kind of. Would have been.
Yeah, him and Anakin.
TV screens.
Yeah, him and Anakin did freaking. It seems like they were the only two Jedi in the entire galaxy. They're freaking everywhere.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can see that argument, but part of me just had this weird twisted thought. What if he was actually Boba Fett? For a short time?
What if Obi-Wan is Snoke?
Oh
man! Real fast, getting on that Snoke theory thing from forever because it's all still going on.
Snoke.
Getting back to this Aftermath series, it kind of opens up some theories about who Snoke might be.
Yes, I've been reading on some of those big theories.
So, if you get the time, read the books because it kind of gets involved in a little bit of the outside of the known galaxy space a little bit. Kind of gives you some lore, what's beyond the galaxy of unexplored space from the Star Wars galaxy, which is kind of cool. And kind of get hints at maybe there's something else out there. It's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that story arc went away with Legends, right?
Yeah, they're slowly incorporating it back in. They're
yeah.
kind of massaging it in loosely if they, when it suits the story.
Yeah, I've been reading alternative theories of who Snoke possibly could be, but sometimes reading these theories they're so terribly absurd, they're funny.
And some of them are meant to be funny, though.
And some of them are meant to be funny, so it is an enjoyable concept. But, it's one of those things like, I don't want to look too closely.
Oh, yeah, because just in case you read that one particular thing and it turns out to be right, you knew it 6 months in advance, you're like, damn! I knew this going into this. I didn't want to know it, but I knew it.
Or it's someone you didn't want to be Snoke, and you're like, oh, man.
Yep, I agree.
Not that trope.
Getting on to the next story, because we keep side-railing or derailing our conversation.
It's my fault, guys.
No, it's both of our faults.
Caffeine, sleep deprivation.
Have you ever wanted to be in a Star Wars movie as an extra?
No.
Well, here's your chance. Han Solo is looking for about 300 extras. And again, it's filming the Grand Cayman Islands. So go out and buy your plane tickets, your boat tickets, your train tickets, however you want to get over to Europe to go to the Grand Caymans. They need 300 extras. They don't know when, roughly June time. I'm buying my tickets and I'm out of here.
You would go?
No, I wouldn't go. That's too far away.
I was about to say, for me, it's the fact that, one, I don't think they make Stormtrooper or Trooper armor big enough.
It could be like a Rancor, wrestler or something.
Yeah, that's really appealing. Standing in the sun with a bad helmet,
That guy actually had a future.
He had a future.
Yeah. In the Aftermath books,
He did.
They brought him up.
Really?
Yeah.
I stand corrected. Okay, I'm off to the Grand Caymans. I can get my bit part and build up from there.
Yeah, he actually goes on to help train a hut slug.
Ah.
Yeah. Somebody finds him, is like, you're a Beastmaster? We need a Beastmaster. We have a hut that needs training. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Kind of interesting.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I just, but if you're an extra in a Star Wars film, you're going to be examined from every angle.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the major reasons.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I wouldn't do it either, because you're going to be scrutinized. You're going to be how you didn't fit in the movie, why'd they cast you, why were you an extra? I mean, there's
hit your head on a beam.
On a beam, or a door doesn't open all the way, you smack your helmet walking through.
And forever.
That guy's Snoke.
That guy could be Snoke. There's
a scar on the head.
There's a running joke, a comedian from Britain when I was in the original Star Wars, and everyone was like, "Really? Yeah, I was the Stormtrooper doing this."
That sounds about right.
And then everyone pauses because you could see the wheels.
They're trying to figure out what scene that was.
It's like, what scene was it? Oh, I didn't make it. Why? Because I was doing this.
I wasn't needed. I was not an air traffic controller guy.
Yeah, I was just standing there doing that just to piss them off.
I was cut on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it would be a really great piece of film history, and that'd be really cool. But on the other hand, it's like, man, you'd be. I've heard things like Wedge, the actor who played Wedge, who was Ewan MacGregor's uncle.
Yeah, that's right.
And he even warned Ewan MacGregor off from doing Star Wars because they thought he'd be too typecast.
Luckily, he wasn't.
Right, because you remember Wedge was in 3 movies.
Yeah, and he gets brought up in every book pretty much has Wedge in it.
He's like Boba Fett. He's one of these characters that was on the screen limited time.
Yeah, but has a huge fan base.
Yeah.
How does an X-Wing pilot get a fan base other than Luke?
Cameron Poe.
Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron, sorry.
However you want to say it, it's fine.
I always mess it up.
Oscar Isaac. That's the actor. Anyway, he's not funny. He's not on the Star Wars list.
He's not on the list?
Alan Tudyk is, though.
Well, yeah, okay. You're going to take... Easily, you would take Alan Tudyk anyway.
Yeah, because I hope he, off topic of us, I hope he goes to Celebration with the K2SO head above his head. Because he was K2SO, so that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, but any Star Wars fan would know, but it's just like, I'm sorry, I still love him for other efforts, but
yeah. I mean, he of course he was in Firefly and yeah, he was the robot in iRobot.
Yeah. But I definitely liked him in Rogue One. I thought he was fantastic.
Oh yeah, K2SO was great. Getting back to being an extra in Star Wars, if it was filming in Texas, I would make a conscious effort to do it.
I mean, we would be camping out of the back of my car.
Yeah, or just not just standing in line in all the weather, just gonna be there. But I would definitely make an effort if it was here in Texas, or even if it was in a neighboring state other than Oklahoma, because no one wants to go to Oklahoma.
Sorry, Okies.
I'm not. But I don't know if I'd want to be an extra in a spinoff movie though. I would want to be like an extra in like this trilogy.
If you're willing,
the Skywalker saga.
Okay.
But then again, there's such a like Disney sort of Star Wars family. Once you're like kind of in it, you get moved to like, oh, we're doing this film. You want to go over here? Oh yeah, sure. We're also doing this. You want to go over here? They do that a lot too.
That would be the good thing. But now you've just kind of given me the chills of the fact of you're the Disney family. And Mafia, yep. I just had this thing like there's a a bronze statue of Mickey in the corner, and there's a knife on the table and a deck of cards.
In the family now.
You know what you must do. It's like, oh yeah, I will work on those other projects. No problem.
Being part of the Disney family mafia, whatever, House of Mouse.
As long as I get to go to one of their exclusive, like secret hidden, bars and restaurants.
Oh yeah, and they're what's that called? It's there's like one in every park. I forget what the name of it though. Maybe you guys can comment, tell us what it is.
Please.
I'll look it up later, but it'd be cool to get a comment or two. But yeah, they got those secret bars, and there's like one place in like each park that actually serves alcohol, and it's like those secret bars. But you have to like wait on those waiting lists for like God knows how long. You have to be a member of like the Disney sort of like not mailing list, but it's like
their secret list.
Yeah, I've tried to get on it, but there's a waiting list to get on the waiting list.
Wow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Wow, that's not even like the Four Seasons or the Savoy. At the Savoy, they're like, we have been here since 1385. You can wait.
Disney's like, you can wait while waiting to wait more. Sorry.
That's such an American thing. You're going to wait on a waiting list to get on
a waiting list.
What is this, an organ transplant list?
No, it's to drink alcohol at Disney.
I'm sorry. My wife, my dear lovely wife, who's a huge Disney fan.
Uh-huh.
Before Star Wars became part of the Disney family, has been after me for years to go to Disney. Now I got a business degree and I want to go to Disney, but it has nothing to do with the entertainment. And there better be booze involved, because if I'm around that many cheerful people,
there's not.
If I'm around that many cheerful people,
well, if you can muster the funds, I will be going to Disney while I'm at Celebration. You can go to Disney with me. If I can swing it, I'm gonna go. If I had to choose between the two, because I get to choose. My wife approved me to choose between one of two parks, Disney or Universal Orlando. Mm-hmm. What she doesn't know is that I can get into Disney for free.
If she watches the show,
she does not.
Well, that's harsh.
I know my own wife doesn't watch the show.
My wife,
she likes it though. Every time it comes up, she just clicks like. She doesn't watch the show though.
My wife has watched this and is then like makes a list and corrects me on my pronunciations.
Oh, what does she know? She's not a Star Wars fan.
No, it's all the other things that I keep mispronouncing. She could care less about the Star Wars thing. Actually, she's really grown as a Star Wars fan, because what am I doing at night when I'm not doing schoolwork? I'm watching, reading Star Wars stuff. Yep. So she kind of like
getting caught into it.
it.
Getting back on that Celebration news, I'm gonna do the little segment probably for every show until we go to Celebration or till I go to Celebration. Some Star Wars Celebration news. It has been confirmed again that Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar will be at Celebration. Also, the Reed Pop figures. These guys here, the one over there. They just announced that they are going to have some exclusives for this year's Celebration. They're going to have Rey on a speeder. They're going to have a Guardian or Grandian. They're going to have Han Solo. And they're gonna have the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon. So he's all blue. I've seen the pictures. It's like, out of all things, you're gonna get a Force Ghost of Qui-Gon. Why not like a Force Ghost of like Anakin? Maybe that's coming later.
Or maybe an action figure of Qui-Gon. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Maybe like a big burn hole in the middle. I'm kidding. They're gonna.
That was a little too soon, man. Yeah, too soon.
Really? 99?
It's too soon. It's too soon.
They're also gonna do Chopper from Rebels, which is cool. He's actually, that droid has kind of grown on me a little bit. I didn't like him at first. I thought he was kind of like a little, very much of an well, I thought he was a really bad R2 ripoff, but then I realized that nope, Chopper's just an asshole, and I like that about him. He's like a mix between R2 and K2SO, but in compact size.
The thing is, I always kind of like secretly thought R2 was an asshole.
Yeah,
but you know he's that plucky sidekick. No, he's an asshole. No, he's a plucky sidekick.
Well, he must cuss that because they beep out everything he says.
Right, that's exactly why I was hitting there.
And they're also doing Boba Fett on the pop figures as well. I probably won't be buying any of these, maybe other than Chopper, because I thought Chopper was cool. But I'm not a big pop figure guy. I buy little things like the Ahsoka. I had to have Ahsoka, and the Shore Trooper. The Shore Trooper's just freaking cool. I had to have both of these. As you can see, I don't have any of the other pop figures, but yeah, that's the. Oh, also what came out today, like a little while ago, Sam Witwer, who voiced Darth Maul, will be going to Celebration as well. I just learned that today. Hence why I bought the photo op.
Right. Both halves. Once again, back to the both halves joke.
That's the Celebration news. There's a whole bunch of people you can go check out on the Celebration website, StarWarsCelebration.com. Check out who's going to be there if you're going. Cool. It's going to be a lot of fun. Find me. I'll be there, run around excited as everybody else will be as well. Might be dressed as a Jedi or a scoundrel. Who knows? But I think that might be all of the news I have. Do you have anything to contribute this time? Because your input's always important.
But it's a terrible input because I saw Freddie Prinze Jr. is going to be there, Sarah Michelle Gellar is going to be there, and I'm like, Scooby-Doo reunion. Get the band back together.
Yeah, I was almost thinking the same thing, but I was also like, why is Buffy going to Star Wars?
That's a good question. It's like...
Yeah.
I mean, she's back in the news on the grounds of it's like the 20th anniversary of Buffy the Vampire.
Well, she's married to Freddie Prinze Jr. too.
Yeah,
that helps. Yeah. And she did voice one character in, was it Rebels or it had to be Rebels. She voiced one of the Night Sisters.
Ah.
Yeah. Kind of interesting. My husband does it. Can I get a role? Dave Filoni. Sure.
Yeah, but I think half the people that work in animation are like,
you're Sarah Michelle Gellar.
No, worse. You're Buffy.
You're Buffy. It's funny. She's like, I think she's the most expensive celebrity to get a photo with this time around. Yeah, she's expensive.
I have no doubt.
I'm not getting into that again. I dug my grave last time.
Yeah. She's a classy lady.
She's a classy lady. And you can actually get a photo op with both Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze in one photo.
Wow.
If you're willing to pay for it, which I am not.
But you're frugal.
I am frugal, so I'm going to spread out with 5.
We have a very small budget. This is why you need to subscribe, comment, and like and share. So his budget to spend time at Celebration can be greater. That's
true, and also, I don't know if you knew this yet, but maybe you did. And I know probably some of you guys out there did. There will not be a Star Wars Celebration next year. They're going to skip a year. They're going to go to 2019.
Why?
They haven't said. I'm guessing we can actually talk about this because if you didn't know, it's kind of cool. My guess and my own theory on his, they might want to do it. This might be because I'm kind of gathering my words here. So last year's Celebration didn't go so well. It did and it didn't. Like there wasn't a whole lot of new stuff that came out. There wasn't a whole lot of this is cool stuff, right home to your mom kind of stuff. It was they had a big Rebels panel and they showed some cool Rebel stuff and they've announced some books, but that was pretty much they gave a behind the scenes of Rogue One, but they didn't have anything big and exciting in announcing. And then a lot of the like panels and stuff, and with Kathleen Kennedy, it's like, oh, we'll see you guys next year in Orlando. We'll see. She kept saying that we'll see you next year in Orlando. So a lot of fans are like, what are they getting in Orlando that we're not getting? So we'll see. But I think that they learned a lesson. Like, we can't keep doing this every year. Right. It's becoming like there's so many like new fans now that people want all of this stuff all at once. They want all this information. I think they're gonna skip a year. They either will do it. See, they're gonna do this year. They're doing Star Wars Celebration, and then immediately, like 2 weeks later, they're going to be doing D23. So they're gonna be doing two big giant conventions back to back. I'm thinking they're either gonna do them on the years that the saga films come out, or they're gonna stick to the. So they're doing Episode 8 for this one. They probably won't do one for Han Solo, because I think Han Solo is going to be announced at D23. I hope they'll do something for it at Celebration, but we'll see. But I'm thinking that they'll do it just for the main saga films, because how big and how exciting people are getting. Because the pass is sold out. The 4-day pass is sold out like no time at all. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts. I think it's actually pretty cool to do it every other year.
Kind of builds the hype.
Keeps the hype going. Also, it allows you to grab all those wonderful actors, whether they be voice actors, screen actors, and let them do projects that won't tax their already probably very heavily taxed schedules.
Very true. Yeah, it's hard to get a lot of those celebrities all at once because they have schedules to keep for filming. They've got, especially the directors who are working on the films for Star Wars. They may not, going into like Episode 9 not next year in 2019. It's hard to get those sizzle reels together and those like quick previews to show. Right. That's hard to do, and if you got to do that every year, it's got to be a challenge. Definitely
got to be a challenge, especially since they have their own product line. D23. Yep. Now, I'm sure D23 is going to go on every year.
Yeah, they have to, because that's sort of their big push every year.
So I think every other year for Star Wars, line is actually a good thing. Also, because it's kind of like what I used to call the Ren Fair fatigue. Yeah. When you go every weekend, it's not as enchanting.
That's true. I know we did that for like almost 4 years straight.
4 years straight.
And we went every weekend while it was in season, and we just it
became a work.
It became work, and then by that first year had its magic, and then the next year you go there and you set up your camp, and then you realize, I know everything that's going on in there. I'm just gonna go hang out at the hookah tent and smoke hookah for 8 hours.
Right. Or just cook something and hang out
at the camp. Yeah, it's like I could do this at home for free. Why am I going here?
If we maybe did it once a month or something. Yeah. And so I still think that it would make it much more exciting if it's every other year. Yeah. Plus, it gives people, let's be honest, lead time to plan their schedules, get funds.
That's true.
And make these big family adventures.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I was hoping too. Because originally it was supposed to be me and my wife and my child. My parents and my wife's parents were all supposed to go to Florida together. Mm-hmm. That way I would have a babysitter for my child, and my wife and I could go to Star Wars Celebration. And then we could go to Disney as a family and stuff like that. But, when you only have, they announced it soon. I think they announced it last year for Celebration, but Celebration last year happened in July. And less than a year later, because this one's in April, we get another Star Wars Celebration. So it's a hard turnaround time for people who need a year to plan at least, right. Or to build funds to go to these things, to plan these things.
Especially when kids are involved, that adds an extra 6 months.
At least an extra 6 months. So I'm kind of right there with you. Every other year would be great. I'm actually thinking maybe D23 should be on the opposite years of Celebration.
I would hope so. I think that would be really cool.
That way, the people who run those conventions, because a lot of them aren't in the industry, like the film industry, they just do that production stuff for that. Mm-hmm. You're gonna burn those folks out, man.
Right, and honestly, as well as Disney pays, and Disney is actually one of these companies that has a mixed record on some things, but pays well on other things. Yeah. You may, hurt your brand on the fact that you may not get the best quality.
Yeah, you're gonna burn your folks out, man. Right. And no one's gonna want like, oh, they worked us to the bone. I got no benefits. I mean, I'm sure they got something like maybe food passes or something.
They pay on one thing, but not on other things.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, take care of your people, man.
That's the best way to do it. I think that's all the time we've actually got. I'm gonna say I think we're done.
Well, I want to end with if I got a figure,
one more.
I would have got the blue Qui-Gon.
Well, Qui-Gon?
Yeah.
Why Qui-Gon?
Well, it's
Liam Neeson.
Well, yeah, it's Liam Neeson. Sorry, I always mispronounce his name. It's like, I don't know. He was like the proto Obi-Wan.
He was, and that's a kind of a funny thing. Is like you had this Jedi that was introduced. I don't know. See, I didn't read any of the old canon, so I don't know. I don't know if he was in the books or not, or the Legends books. But you had this Jedi that no one knew, but yet he was so not against the council, like the Jedi Council, but he had his own way of doing things, and he was set in his way. But it was also the correct way for him, but it wasn't a bad way.
Right.
It was just a different way of looking at the Force.
Right. It's also, but he had the same Boba Fett effect.
Yeah.
He talked back to Yoda.
He did.
He's like, okay, I will train him on my own.
Yeah, and I think Yoda said he was a great Jedi. He had a great mind. It's just, he didn't always line up with what the council wanted. Yeah. And some say, he was like the first great Jedi. He did his own thing. He had his respects to the council and what Jedi stood for. But there's always those separate people who have different views on whether it's religion or politics or whatever, who align themselves with I'm going to use Christianity real fast. Who align themselves as a Christian but are just slightly to the left or slightly to the right.
Right.
There's always a gray area, whether you're right or wrong, and there's no way to say if you're right or wrong because that's just how you think and it's how you are. So,
well, and then the cool thing is, where I always use the analogy that Han Solo is like the king of cool.
Yeah,
he was like, for a Jedi, he was just like, I'm a Jedi. It's like,
yeah,
there was
I'm
no
a Jedi.
There's no indecision. It's like,
yep.
I kind of liked him as kind of a character for that. It's like, nope, I'm doing this. Nope, I'm doing that.
Yeah, and he met his end by a very good Sith villain who we only got to see for like 10 minutes of screen time, but
which is
whatever.
a Star Wars tradition.
Which is a Star Wars tradition. But luckily we got some further character development not only in the Clone Wars with Darth Maul but also with Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon showed up in the Clone Wars as well toward the end. He was a Force ghost, and he was never actually a Force ghost. That's what I wanted to say. He was never actually a Force ghost. He was actually just a voice. He never learned how to manifest into the ghost. He was like the precursor to the Force ghost. Like he'd never learned. That's why Yoda went to Dagobah to learn how to be that and how to do that. And so, I think that's kind of weird that they're doing a Force ghost of Qui-Gon when he was never a Force ghost.
Someone's screaming right now at their screen when they hear this continuity. Yeah, but no, that's all I got. I just find that I just always liked him as a character.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm so old fashioned. He's kind of like the Lone Ranger kind of character. He has his own ethos.
Maybe so.
That's just my take on it. So no, I'm done. I'm pretty burned out on it.
Well, we are now done. Killing it. No more. We're out of time. We're out of space in the SD card. Alrighty. Well, if you enjoyed the show, guys, make sure you click that thumbs up button. Please like or dislike or whatever that you think needs to happen on those thumbs up or thumbs down, whichever one you want to do. Leave us a comment. Tell us that we're really good. Tell us that we really sucked. Doesn't really matter. We love to read them. Click the subscribe button. You'll see it kind of sitting here. It's gonna be here or up here, wherever, somewhere. It'll definitely be in this general vicinity here. But I think that's all the time we've got. Remember, guys, like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys next time, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.